am going to show you how to make the cutest reversible Easter Bunny basket by Aloha Sewing Company. The link down below in the description box will bring you to the pattern pieces that you can just print off right at home. If you are watching from our website, alohasewingcompany.com, welcome and follow along. Here is the Easter Bunny ear pattern piece if you choose to add that. And here is the rest of the pattern pieces. I'm going to show you really quick how to assemble it. The only pages that need to be taped together are A1 and A2. You can see them labeled here. All you have to do is cut along the dashed line on the right side of page A1, just like I'm doing here. And then you're gonna line up the gray stars so that they line right up together. Get a piece of tape, glue stick, paste, whatever you have, and go ahead and attach those two pieces of paper together and then cut out your pattern piece. Now that you have all of your pattern pieces cut out, go ahead and grab your main Easter basket sewing pattern piece. You're going to follow the instructions on the front of this to find out what you need to cut. You can make a single fabric basket like I have made here, and I used some super cute soft minky and I added bunny ears. You can make a 2 fabric color blocked basket like I have here with 2 fabrics around the outer basket, and I added some decorative rickrack trim. You're also going to add some fusible fleece interfacing if you want a stiffer, sturdier basket that will stand more upright. Follow your package directions to do that. I'll also show you a little bit how to here in a moment. So first I'm going to show you how to do the color blocked pieces. You're going to cut 2 of both of the color blocked basket pattern pieces on the fold of your fabric. Fold your fabric in half or just at the fold and line your pattern piece up with the very fold of the fabric, and then you're going to trace all the way around your pattern piece, and then you're going to do this one more time because you want to cut this so that you have 2. Anytime you see a pattern that has cut on fold, it means to fold your fabric and place that pattern piece up to the fold line of that fabric, and then you're going to trace it and cut it out with it still folded. And here is both of the top of your basket that's color blocked. Put the pattern piece with it so that you remember what it is, and get the bottom basket piece of your sewing pattern and cut the 2 of those as well. Now that you have both pieces cut out, lay them right sides together, aligning the top, and then you're going to pin or clip it in place and top stitch. Go ahead and sew all the way across the top using about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Here's what it looks like once it's sewn. Just a straight stitch all the way across the top there with the right sides of the fabric together. The pretty sides are kissing. And then you're going to open this up and press that seam flat. Now you're going to turn it so that the right side is facing down. Open up the seam with your fingers and press this seam flat. If you're going to add fusible fleece interfacing so that you have a stiffer, sturdier basket, go ahead and cut that out as well using your main Easter basket fabric pattern piece. And you're going to put the rough side facing the wrong side of your fabric. The fleece soft side should be facing up and the rough side should be facing down. Now you can cut this a little bit smaller than your actual fabric if you want to reduce that bulk at your seams, but you absolutely don't have to. I was using what I had left over from another project, so I did cut it a little bit shorter. So once you have it with the rough side lined up to the wrong side of your fabric, flip it over and press your fabric so that the glue on that fusible fleece interfacing adheres to your fabric. You don't want to roll left and right, you just go up and down. If you're going to add any decorative ribbon or trim, go ahead and do it now. And to do that, you're going to measure 2 inches from the top of your fabric on both top left and top right sides. I've also put this mark on the pattern piece now so that you don't have to measure, just use that pattern piece to make those marks. Now you're going to get your ribbon or trim and line it up right over those 2 marks and pin or clip it in place and leave just a little bit hanging off of each side. Now you're going to top stitch, bring it to your sewing machine and sew a straight line right on top of that ribbon or trim. Now you're done making the color block. You should have 2 identical pieces like this done because you need a front and a back basket. And then you also need to get your Easter basket main piece pattern and cut out 2 more pieces of fabric for the lining. The people who are making this with 1 single fabric have 4 cut out and follow these steps. Get those front and back pieces and lay them right sides together. Pin or clip it on the sides and across the bottom. You're not going to clip or pin right at those 2 inner corners across the bottom. Now you're going to take it to your machine, sew across the left side, sew across the bottom, and sew across the right side using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Once you're done with that, here's what it should look like. You can see I did not sew the top closed or the bottom 2 corners closed. If you added any ribbon or trim, go ahead and cut off any excess ribbon or trim that you have there on the sides. And let's work on the next step. Now go to your bottom 2 corners. Open it up, and then you're going to line up the top and bottom seams that you see here. You're going to put them together so that the seams are kissing with the right sides together and pin or clip this in place. Put a couple extra pins or clips to the left and right of that. Then you're going to do the same thing for the other bottom corner of your basket. And after you have all of it pinned and clipped in place like the other side, take it to your sewing machine and sew across that line using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Here's what it looks like once it's sewn. And here is the bottom of your basket. And the next thing we're going to do now is work on making the handle. Grab the piece that you cut out for your handle, add fusible fleece to the wrong side of the fabric. The wrong side should be facing upwards right now. Fold this in half, and then you're going to press it flat with your iron to create a crease. Once you open it up, you'll see the crease down the middle. Now grab the bottom of your fabric and fold it up until it meets the crease and press it with your iron again. After you do that, you're going to get the top piece of your fabric, bring it down to that crease in the middle, and you're going to press that flat with your iron as well. Once you have that nice and flat, fold it in half so that you meet the 2 folded ends and press that with your iron one more time. Pin or clip this in place if you need to, but because it's already ironed pretty flat, I don't need to do that. It'll stay in place fine. And using a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, sew those folded edges together, then go across the other side and do the same thing. Here's what it looks like once it's sewn. You're not going to worry about the raw edges at the top and the bottom of this handle here because they're going to be hidden inside of the basket. So now grab the outer basket, and it's not flipped right side out. You're gonna keep it just like you have it, and we're gonna go ahead and attach the handles. You're going to attach the handles mid-center to the left and right seams of the basket. Use those as your guides. So you're going to put the handle inside of your basket, line it up like I said, mid-center to the side seam, and let it overlap the top of the basket just a little bit, and pin or clip that in place. Then you're going to put your handle inside the basket and do the same thing on the other side seam. Now, staying close to the edge, go ahead and baste these right in place so that they stay where they're supposed to. You can see I stayed close to the edge there, and I just attached them to the basket to hold them in place. Now I'm going to show you how to make the optional bunny ears. Get your front and back bunny ear and lay them with the right sides together. Pin or clip this in place all the way around the ear, but you're not going to pin or clip across the bottom so that you remember that you're not going to sew the bottom closed. Since I made this pattern, I did go ahead and update it and made the bottom of the ear a little bit wider so that it looks a little bit better on the basket. Now you're going to sew all the way around your ear using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and do not sew across that bottom. Once you're finished, this is what it should look like. Mine's a little bit uneven because I used a slippery minky fabric, but it's still just fine. You're going to go ahead and cut some notches all the way up to your stitch line and cut off any major excess fabric. And make sure you don't clip through your stitches when you're making the notches around all the curves of this fabric. You're cutting these notches so that when you flip it right side out, like we're doing now, your fabric will lay flat at the seams and they will curve instead of pucker up around those curves. Once you have it right side out, go ahead and smoothen out your seams. I love using a chopstick with my everyday sewing to do stuff like this. And then you're going to press it flat with your iron to get out any wrinkles and make sure your seams are nice and crisp. Once you have it pressed flat, go to the bottom of your ears and fold them inwards, slightly overlapping at the bottom. Then you're going to take it to your sewing machine and sew across the bottom very close to the edge just to hold that fold in place. Here's what it looks like. Now we're going to go back to our basket and we're going to attach those ears. I'm going to attach them using a measuring ruler to measure 3 inches from each side seam. I've also included this on the pattern piece, so you don't have to use a ruler if you don't want to. Just use that pattern piece to mark that 3-inch mark. So I've lined up my measuring ruler with the side seam, and I'm going to go ahead and get a pin and just make a little mark right there at the 3-inch. Then I'm going to take it to the other side and do the same thing. Now that we have those marked, go ahead and get your bunny ears, and with the ear part facing downward inside the basket, place your bunny ear right over your 3-inch mark. I want the white side to show with this basket that I have here, so I'm gonna have the white side facing out. So I'm gonna have the other side facing my basket lining. Make sure it's overlapped a little bit over the basket. Take it to your machine and sew a basting stitch just to hold these in place. Cut off any excess fabric, and then you are done with this lining piece. Again, you do not have to add the bunny ears if you don't want to. I've already made the other side of my basket, just like I did the other lining piece of my basket, and I'm going to flip it right side out. Now we're going to quarter off the top of our baskets so that we can line them up correctly when we put them together. Go ahead and get your side seams and press them flat, and then fold your basket in half. Right there at the fold of the top, cut a small slit. Now you have this quartered off. You have 2 side slits, and then you have 2 side seams. Those are going to be reference guides for when you're putting these 2 together. Now do the same thing for this basket piece. Place it flat and then fold your basket in half. At the fold, cut a small slit and you'll have your 4 quarters. Now get your basket piece that is right side out and put it inside of the other basket. Line up all 4 quarters and pin or clip them in place. You're going to first start with lining up each of your side seams so that they're kissing. Pin or clip it in place, and then you're going to do it the same way with your other side seam. After you do that, you're going to line up your clipped notches that you just made, and you're going to pin or clip those in place as well, and then add pins or clips all the way around the rest of your basket like I'm doing here. Any part of your basket that's not at the handle, go ahead and place 3 pins or clips just to remind you to leave about a 3 or 4 inch gap opening that you're not going to sew. Start sewing all the way around your basket diameter to put these pieces of fabric together, remembering to leave that 3 to 4 inch gap that you do not sew closed. Here's what it looks like once you're all done. I used a 1/4 to 3/8 inch seam allowance normally, and then here is the hole opening that we left. Go ahead and pull your fabric right side out using that hole opening. Once you have it pulled right side out, you're going to pinch the front seam and pinch the back seam, and then push that basket liner inside of your basket. Go ahead and smoothen out your seams across the entire top of your basket by just pushing and folding and pinching however you need to do it. Make sure that they're nice and flush with each other because we're going to top stitch this in a minute. Now we get to our hole opening. What you're going to do is get both of your pointy fingers and put them inside the hole opening. Once you do that, it pulls that fabric taut and it automatically pushes the fabric inwards so that you can create this nice flush opening here with the fabric inwards about 1/4 of an inch. Pin or clip this hole closed, and then you're going to top stitch around the entire diameter of your basket, staying close to the edge. I like to use 1/8 of an inch, but 1/4 of an inch actually looks really well too. You're going to start sewing right at your opening and follow it all the way around. And now you are completely done with your basket. It is so cute. It's a perfect size for any age, and it's reversible. You can have the bunny ears showing or not showing. You can make the entire thing just one fabric, like the inner fabric that's white here, or you can make it two-toned, color blocked like I have it here. This is a quick, fun project to make for your babies or grandbabies, and they can pass these down to theirs. We also have patterns for reusable Easter eggs that you can fill up that you can make to match your basket. I'll also put the link down below in the description box, or you can visit us at alohasewingcompany.com. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and have fun sewing along with me. Please, please, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel to see all of our easy sewing patterns as they're released. Visit alohasewingcompany.com, or the link is down below in the description box on YouTube to see all of our super easy sewing patterns that you can print at home so you can start to sew faster. We make sewing patterns for literally everything, from baby items, kids' clothes, decorations, holiday stuff and gifts, bags and more. And before you go, mahalo.